They have got a guest that I've been trying to track down for some time. He's super busy. I tried to get a hold of him at the wrong time of the year, which is the fall, and we'll get into all that in this podcast. But if you've checked out, I think it was probably the last episode with Dylan Young, it kind of sent me on a path that I found Nick on social media, and I thought that maybe he was a secret, and little did I know he's certainly not. Not only do we have like 60 mutual friends, but he's got like 3,000 friends. He's an entrepreneur. He's the founder and CEO of SolesRx.com. He's the founder of Suncatcher Ministries, which we'll get way into today. Owner and founder of SDHunt.com. Entrepreneur, and the one thing that really stands out, I highly encourage you to go out, check out Nick Kolterman on his Facebook page, and the first thing that'll strike you is you are your only limit. Dreams don't work unless you do. And we're going to find out a lot more about that today. But Nick Kolterman, thank you for joining today. Like I said, I've been excited to do this for a while, but all it took was me to get on your Facebook page, see how many hunters you take in the fall at Suncatcher Ministries in your lodge, and how that all comes together. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to wait till it gets a little colder, and these out-of-state guys don't really want love to come to South Dakota when it gets into mid-December. So, Nick, thank you so much for joining. Let's dive into a little bit first. I want to at least get you an opportunity to kind of promote what you do, for a livelihood, and kind of focus just a moment here on your entrepreneurship. But you're a Nebraska native, correct?
I am, yeah. I grew up in a couple different places in Nebraska. My grandparents ranched down in western Nebraska. Grew up mostly in Norfolk, Nebraska. Went to high school there, and then went on to college. So, what's really, I'm looking at myself in the in the video here. You clean up nice, Jeff. I've been hunting nonstop, literally for every day for the last 3 months, and it's been nothing but a blessing this year. I always say meeting new people and opportunities and what arises from when people, it doesn't matter what you do in business. A lot of these people that come in as clients, they're here to hunt, but they leave as family, and we've gotten to know some of these people over the years. But yeah, I need to do a little trimming.
It's all good. Once people find out more about your story, it'll probably make more sense. But you're out there in the plains of South Dakota, day in and day out, and especially the weather we had with the wind and the cold, you need a little face protection, Nick.
I'll tell you what, your face does take a beating. These ladies that just came, I'll say we just had a women's only hunt. It's the first women's only hunt we've done for pheasants, and we had 12 ladies, including our guides. So we had 15 women in both lodges in the last 3 days. I just got done with that and wrapped that up yesterday. And so they didn't realize how much South Dakota weather can change in a matter of, even 12 hours. And we went from about 3, 4, 5 mile an hour winds the day they arrived to blustering cold, about 18 degrees outside, and 30 mile an hour gusts, which is really hard to shoot a pheasant. So they had a rude awakening of 3 days of up and downs, and then it got a little bit into the 30s. But yeah, I'm very humble person, and I love the fact that as I've retired and exited businesses and been in and out of the entrepreneur world for 20 years of my careers in my life. We've shifted gears a little bit, and we've gotten more involved in giving back and trying to find ways to build business and do things for other people. And that's what has arisen in the last 12 months of our ministry work in the outdoors. And a lot of times when the people that are watching or listening to this, when you go hunting and you don't have a disability, or when you go places and you want to stay in a hotel or do things, we take all of our actions for granted. And so, knowing Dylan, you mentioned Dylan Young, he's one of my best friends, and we've really gotten to know each other over the last couple of years, just because of the things that we're doing and what we're involved with and how we can help other people. And that has opened a lot of doors in the communities of the disability world, as well as working with our veterans and our kids and kids with terminally ill cancers and all the things that and exciting things we're doing with our ministry, which we'll dive into.
So talk to us, like, how did this all, like, give us a little bit of an evolution. As you mentioned, you're an entrepreneur. You've had, from what I can gather, it looked like you've had some great success doing some things with some orthopedics and soles. Going through that entrepreneurship, was this always something that you looked for in the future as you looked at a vision of where you wanted to go, or did it all of a sudden one day it just kind of click? How did it all end up where, like, guide me through, like, where you were and how we got to where you are today?
Yeah. So my background is in orthotic and prosthetics. I've been in the medical field for 19 years. I kind of semi-retired from that last year, just taking all the money that I've made from those things and turning other opportunities. And so we started buying ground up in a little area called Fedora, South Dakota. And anybody that knows South Dakota, we're the capital of the world. Uh, my kids love the outdoors. I have a son and a daughter. We love to hunt. We love to fish. We love to do all the things that God has given us to enjoy in nature. And so it has been on my heart and my mind for quite some time to start a nonprofit, do something in the nonprofit world, just simply because having contracts with the VA healthcare systems, I loved helping veterans over the years, giving back to different organizations, more so locally within the state, helping kids with nonprofit sides of things, giving to charities that are local. But it's always been a dream of mine to give back at some point in my life. It just took a while to get there, to be able to do that. And I will tell you one thing that I've learned about the nonprofit world and having a 501c3. I didn't really treat it as a business at first. I got aboard of a group of my friends together. We started collaborating on ideas, and we really didn't do much with it the first 3 or 4 months, other than just raising social awareness. And so once a couple of my friends who are in business said, you really need to treat this as a business, and take the reins and start pushing this envelope with the people and the capitalization that then it really started taking off this year, and we've really got some headway. And so we're happy to announce in spring of 25 here, because we do have winters here in South Dakota. Unfortunately, we can't do a whole lot, but we are going to break ground on one of the largest facilities in the United States, and that being so, it's going to be around the size of 15,000 square feet. It's going to be the only lodge in the United States that's fully ADA compliant from the ground up. Every bedroom, every door, every window. And we're not talking ADA compliancy from like just the construction level. So like there's all these rules and regulations on ADA compliancy and what makes a building ADA compliant. But getting with people like Dylan, who's a quadriplegic, and other people around the circles of disabilities, I've found that not a lot of people, there's the rules with ADA compliancy, and then there's the people that have lived ADA compliancy, and they go, hey, Nick, this is what we would do different. This is, the doors say they need to be this wide. I would make them this wide. The bathrooms need to be this. I would do this. And so, getting with all these people and really trying to put together a building for multitudes of people with disabilities to enjoy has been an undertaking. And so once we've fulfilled the plans and we've looked at what the building is going to officially be, it's going to be very rewarding. And so the other side of it is we're going to be the only lodge that I know of in the United States that actually will have a nursing or a care staff person on staff, because some of these people, they need fed, they need taken care of, they need transporting from their wheelchair to their bed. Not all of them bring a caretaker with them, or it's difficult for them to have caretakers or an extra pair of hands. And so they're not able to go travel, be what they want to do without bringing somebody with them or having an extra person. Just like Dylan maybe has spoke, with traveling, bear hunting, doing things. It takes an extra set of hands, if not two sets of hands, for these people to be able to go where they want to go and enjoy the outdoors. And so we're just super excited. The other thing that we're doing is it's not just the ministry is not just about hunting and fishing. It's getting people in the capacity of mental awareness and mental health to enjoy the outdoors, right? And so a lot of these people, and I've been around them for 20 years of what I've done in my careers, is that they have kind of a quiet side of, hey, this is what I have, this is what I've dealt with. And it's a mental game for a lot of these people, whether it's a veteran that has PTSD who's disabled, or whether it's a kid that doesn't have an arm or is in a wheelchair. It's more of a mental game than it is a disability. And so once we get them in the outdoors, we enjoy things with them, we do things with them. The other side of the ministry is we get them closer to Jesus. I mean, that's the one side that a lot of these people they get here, they hang out with us, and there's some programs that we're putting together to make this thing full circle. And it's just not about them shooting a pheasant or a deer or fishing in this private pond that we're building. It's bringing them closer to God and bringing them into nature, because that has a healing in itself. And so that's truly what we're about. The other cool thing is we just broke ground this spring. I want to give a shout out and credit to my farm neighbors who have lent their machinery and all of their expertise and tools, because we would not be able to do this at the capacity we are with as far as funding goes, if we didn't have neighbors that were generous enough to bring their bulldozers and their excavators and their dirt work equipment and their farm big tractors and their all the stuff that they have done. We would not be able to do what we're able to do without their help. And so we built a pond last year, and we dug it 22 foot deep when we stocked it with 7,000 fish from down south. And I'm not talking like little fish, I'm talking like monster like catchers. So like if anybody comes out and fishes this pond, they've seen that we've caught 3 to 5 pound smallies, largemouth, smallmouths, like perch that are jumbo, walleyes that are monsters. Like I'm talking wall mounters. And so we decided, my philosophy, and Jeff, once you start to get to know me here over the next year or two, is go big or go home. And so now we're digging another pond. I'm going to call this a lake because it's going to be about 2.5 acres big. And this thing is massive. And so what we're doing is we're going to build a 30-foot ADA dock that is going to be attached to this for disabilities. So people will be able to wheelchair out there. They'll be able to get their track chairs out of the lot. They'll be able to wheel over there, fish, and catch monsters out of that pond, that lake as well. And so just to see some of these kids that we had this summer come out, and we did a couple kids programs, was just awesome. And we did a youth, I don't know if you saw that video on Kelloland, it made ABC News, but they did a story on us. And these kids came out, these little 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids, and we took them hunting and we took them fishing and for the day. And it was so exciting to see that. And that really what's, I don't, most people that come out will see I don't carry a gun too much anymore. I love watching my dogs work. I love watching kids. I love watching, our disabled veteran hunts, these women only hunts. Like it's just all about getting them excited. And sometimes I'm overly excited. I just get too excited when I see people shoot things and catch big fish, but that's just the way my demeanor has always been. And so it's just humbling to see that.
Wow. So let's talk about this facility, because obviously that's exciting. The ponds alone are amazing, but this facility, when I think Dylan probably referred to this a little bit, but you can probably get into some details. So at 15,000 square foot, how many people? And also, I mean, I understand too, there's a capacity that you can do really well with versus saying, hey, let's bring a bunch of people out. And now you're like, okay, well, you're one of how many, but how many people would you like look at hosting at one specific time, and knowing that there's probably some caregivers involved with it as well? What would all that look like?
Yeah, the comfortability side of it is, we look at probably housing 7 to 10 disabled people at one time, just because there's so much energy and so much work that goes into the backside of getting them taken care of. What people don't realize, and what I've seen in the healthcare world of helping disabled people in the orthotic and prosthetic side, when I would go to the VA healthcare systems and I saw all these disabilities, saw kids with disabilities over the years with spina bifida, cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, and whatever I've seen is it's debilitating. So it takes them a lot longer to get out of bed in the morning, get ready, and I'm sure Dylan talked about some of that stuff. Getting them up an hour and a half, 2 hours prior, just to get them dressed and get all of their stuff in order for them to be able to even walk out the door or get out the door. And so the capacity of us to be able to house with the caretakers, we'll be able to take 14 to 15 people. I would say that 7 to 8, 9 people on the disabled side of things. So all in all, it would be a good group every time that we bring people out. And the nice thing about the facility and what we're really trying to do is bring other people with disabilities to know other people with disabilities in this world, right? And so you're not the only one. That's the story that we're trying to tell behind this. And Dylan has done a really good job, and some of my other friends who are disabled have done a really good job of being advocates, especially within the Wheelchair Adventures program that he has, and some other ones out there. Adaptive equipment. They have a couple people within that organization, and there's other people that I've met and have gotten to know over the last 12 to 18 months of, hey, I'm not the only person out here that has this. And it really hasn't been debilitating to me to have this. But here's what I do. I go and fish. I go enjoy the outdoors. I've shot a bear. I've shot, a deer. I've spent 2, 3 days in nature. And here's a place where we can all go and meet each other and do this together. And that's going to bring bonds. It's going to bring healing. It's going to bring all these really cool things that people should get excited about.
So, having that many people out there, what does that look like? So, Nick, I know you don't stop moving. I mean, it doesn't take long to figure that out. You like to have something in front of you to do, and moving forward with all of that, and that's great. Obviously, we need people like that, but you can't do it by yourself.
No.
You're probably the head chef based off of what I've seen on social media. It looks like you like to cook,
Yeah.
put a little video of that. So you need people, regardless of who it is, they need to eat. You got to clean the place. You need guides. You need all the assistance. How does one take that? If you had 7 to 10, like how many people are involved, and like how do you build that up so you can provide the excellent service that you intend to do?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jeff. So there's just as many people behind the scenes as there is many people that are going to be there. So you're looking at 12 to 15 people being there. You're probably going to have around 12 volunteers, 10 to 12 volunteers. It's going to take more on, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like on the side of the hunting people that come out and see us without disabilities, I am the chef. I do a lot of the cooking, the preparation work. We have a great team. Our guides help us out. We have 2, 3 full-time guides, including my 17-year-old son who comes. So 4 people behind the scenes. When you have disabilities, we have a disabled bus. I'm sure you've seen that. We call it the Green Machine. And we can fit 4 or 5 people in wheelchairs at a time on that bus. We wheel them out. We get them in the field. That takes a lot of preparation. And these fields that we hunt, that takes a lot of preparation as well. So we mow the trails down so that they could put their track chairs through them. We mow strips in the food plots so that they're able to move their chairs through the fields, and that takes a lot of work as well in the off season. So there's multiple hands touching things at multiple times when it comes to preparation of getting these people out here. But once they get here, the behind the scenes takes a lot of work, and it takes 1 to 2 people to get these people ready in the morning too. Especially as Dylan, as a quadriplegic or a paraplegic, they can't do things themselves, and so having the beds be ADA compliant, and transfer systems that we're going to have to move these people from their bed to their wheelchair, get them in the showers, get them to eating. And then that in a process takes about 2.5 to 3 hours in itself, where you and I get up in the morning, we take a 5-minute shower, we have hunting clothes on in 20 minutes, we're eating breakfast in 20, 30 minutes, and we're out the door, right? So in all, it's an hour process for us. It's a 3-hour process for them. And so you were absolutely right. It takes a lot of work, and we can't do it ourselves. And so we've got some really good opportunities coming up that there is volunteerism. So, people that love the outdoors, that want to be a part of it. We've already started sign up sheets for fall of 25 here, knowing that we're going to be putting some of these programs together, and different dates set. So it takes an army to make this happen. But the rewarding side of it is when somebody comes up to you and says, man, I would never be able to even have this opportunity or do this without this facility or without what you guys are about to do.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because I think that there's people out there, me being one of them, super passionate about the outdoors, love to hunt, and part of it too, as you said, as I've gotten older, you can see these things, and as my son has become older and as of age, yeah, we both have some of that. There is some satisfaction, and a lot of it now for me, to watch someone else, fill a deer tag, or harvest birds, whatever it might be. It's almost more fun to watch it than it is to actually to do it anymore. But I still have that thing where I want to be outside and be around it. And so for guys like me, like, volunteering for something like this is perfect, because you go, all right, you get to go out and be around it, you get to be outside, but you're doing this, and then the mission behind this is you get to help someone else do it that can't go do it on their own. And Dylan and I talked about this too, and you just said it takes several hours, and it doesn't mean that it's 50 degrees and perfect outside too. It's like, depending on the weather, they need some additional clothing, and you and I can move around, and that creates some warmth. But if you're just sitting there, it hits you different. And
Yeah.
so all of those things, tons of detail, I'm sure, go into this every single week. And being around some of these lodges before too, it's how much is after say a weekend, or 3-day weekend, or 4-day weekend, the whole process starts again. Cleaning everything up, bedding, garbage, get in the kitchen, so the next group that comes in doesn't know that there was just how many people there, and we make a mess. We're human, right? And you
Yeah.
got to get new groceries. You got to get all those things. And so, I think that the big part of it is one, this is awesome. Two, you can't do it alone. There's so many things that you don't think of until you actually get to see the whole program. And this one sounds like it's going to take even more, because what you said, you don't just get up and just go and then hop in your vehicle and drive away when it's all done. There's a whole process to getting people put together and off, back to their homes on that day too, and the work just begins that day. So let's talk about this, because we were kind of on that path. If someone said, if I'm pointing at me, if you're just listening and not watching, if it's someone like me and says, hey, I'm interested in volunteering, and I'm probably taking a step away from some of the volunteer work that I do today, finding something that maybe I'm slightly more passionate about. How would I go about that if I said, you know what, I want to do 2 or 3 weekends, the summer, the fall, whatever it might be? What's the way for me to kind of approach that, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to list the sign up sheets already for spring, summer, just volunteerism of getting things prepped for this building. We're going to break ground on this building in April, or as soon as the frost comes off. And that process, within the amount of construction crews that we have lined up and what we're going to be hitting here, we should have that building complete by this fall, this season.
Wow.
So it's not just a building. We're also building a 20 some hundred square foot. We're calling it the chapel, and so we're going to have an outdoor event space for us to do a Sunday worship. We're going to have, when we do our kids retreats, our disabled veteran retreats, our disability retreats, there'll be a facility outside of the lodge between both of the ponds that we're going to be building as well. And so it's going to take a massive army to put this thing together, just within the groundwork and the building itself. And if there's anybody that's listening to this in the construction world, the electrical world, the plumbing world, whatever that is, and you feel in your heart it's tugging at your strings to be able to be a part of this because you love the outdoors, you maybe have had somebody that was a veteran in your family, or you've had somebody with disabilities, a kid with terminal cancers, whatever that may be. If it's tugging at you, reach out to us, through our social media, through our Facebook, through I can leave my information in this, and we can post that after we're all done with this. But it's a huge undertaking, and again, let's go back to what you said before, Jeff. It's I'm in my 40s, but I've hunted all over the world, and I've shot things, and hundreds of animals that are in the lodges and in my house, and it's what we look at is we've fulfilled what we've really fulfilled, and I tell people, it's not that I say sometimes I don't care if I shoot another pheasant or shoot another deer. I love doing those things, but I truly love seeing a kid, and I get more excited about a kid doing that, or a disabled vet, or somebody that has a disability. I just get so jacked up about it. And people see me in the field, and I'm like, great shot, that was awesome, and I can't believe you did that, and oh my gosh, and maybe 10 more times that, but I just get so excited, and that's truly, when we talk about the kids, getting them involved in the outdoors, they're our future. And there's just something about the professionalism, the camaraderies that you build, getting them on the right path, as you will, or per se, with the children of our future. That's super important, and there's not a lot of kids going into the outdoors unless their dad or their grandfather or somebody introduces them, right? And so if we put together the right programs and introduce some of these kids, and some of these kids are going to have terminally ill cancers, we're looking at taking kids out that have had diseases, and they have a disability. One of the most coolest things I have seen in the last few weeks, because I see a lot of cool things about every month or once a month, but one of them that got put in front of me, the gal on this women's only hunt just this last weekend, Brandy Elrod, and Brandy runs 3 different magazines within the United States, shooting magazines. She has a disability. She adaptively built a system for her shotgun because she has loss of function in her arm and her hand. And it's unbelievable to see her shoot a pheasant with an adaptive equipment on a piece of a firearm the way that she did this week. And she said, "Hey, Nick, we really want to shine you in the spotlight because there's a lot of people, a lot of shooters, a lot of family members, a lot of kids out there that I help around the U.S. and around the world." She was in the USA shooting, in Italy. She's been all over the world, and that's important. And it's word of mouth. It's getting people to realize what we're doing, and then getting them involved. And so, like you said, Jeff, there's a lot of people that are in their 40s, their 50s, early 60s, and they're going, "Hey, I really have a passion for the outdoors. I have a passion for kids. I have a passion for veterans, whatever that may be. How can I get involved?" And just see the smiles on these people's faces.
Yeah, and I think the one thing too that goes along with that, and some of those reasons that I mentioned are they're selfish. It is okay. You've got to have a passion for it, and sometimes that takes in a selfish nature of saying, "I want to be out and doing this." But something you mentioned earlier is about the emotional health, and kids are pretty resilient, but it's an emotional struggle when you can't go do all the other things that other kids can do, and you're going to have people out there that were walking around just like you and I were, maybe as much as 5 years ago, and now they can't. And so whatever their life looked like and what it looks like now, And we've probably all heard the stories, and I've listened to them in live, and veterans that go to these types of facilities that, 2 years ago, drinking half a liter of vodka or a full liter of vodka on a daily basis, and eventually they've got a handgun pointed at their temple, and something clicks and makes them stop that action at that moment, and they need that emotional help. And yes, one, it's important that people with disabilities or veterans, they get together and they talk, but you never know when you have that one kind word, or you're that ear that they get to say something they've never told any before. Maybe you just break through that trust, and they can get something off their chest or say something that they've always wanted to say. And so it's like you're a resource and an ear. And if you show kindness and compassion, you never know what you just either prevented or what you've allowed to happen. And it's way beyond the person that's there. It's their family, it's their parents, their spouse, their kids, all that stuff. And so, Nick, what you're doing is like you're helping all those individuals, but you're helping their families too.
Yeah, it's I would say the easiest way to put it is you're breaking down the barriers, and it's not just the barriers in their psychological mind. It's not the barriers in and amongst themselves. It's the barriers within their families, because their families, they see it, they see the heartache, they see the trauma, they see, and if you can get to them and also bring their families out and get to them as well, you're really fulfilling that full circle, and getting them back to a purpose is the biggest thing.
So Nick, it was interesting enough. So after that interview with Dylan, and someone had reached out and said, "Hey, I've got someone that would be, I think, interested in this ministry." So it's like the connections, they happen pretty, you know, they aren't coincidences. They're,
No.
it's the hand of God that does this stuff. And it's, I think, is so cool about this too, is it does revolve around, even in the name, the ministry, and bringing God into this. And I don't know how anybody could go out into the outdoors and do these things. And yes, it's hunting and it's harvesting, but those are natural resources that God put on this planet. And it talks about in the Bible of us having domain and those types of things. And we could go into that conversation, but I think both of you and I get it. So, I hope people that listen to this that maybe don't have a passion for hunting, but know someone that does, and has disabilities. This is going to be an amazing opportunity for somebody to take advantage of it. So if they do that, which website do they go to, Nick, to find out more about this?
But we've got a suncatcherministries.com. There's a deal that you can click on there. You can learn more about the facility, what we're doing. Also through Facebook, social media, Suncatcher Ministries, or SD Hunt is our Suncatcher Acres is our. So when we started Suncatcher Acres. This is how the story goes. But my father, we were always trying to chase the sun, with the last cast, the last shot, whatever it is, right? And so, Suncatcher was my dad's kind of hunting background name of just trying to the sun's going down. We're missing an opportunity here, So we named the lodges Suncatcher Acres Lodge. That was the first lodge that we built. We built a second lodge. So then we decided we couldn't name it Suncatcher Acres. We had to divide the lodges. And so it was sunrise and sunset. And I don't know if anybody has seen on my social media, but the sunrises and the sunsets on our property are just breathtaking through the trees. And when you're fishing on the pond and the sun's going down, you have a full sun set, and it's just unbelievable. The colors, the blues and the hues and the yellows and the oranges. And so sunset, Suncatcher Acres, Sunset, and Sunrise Lodge. And this new ministry, with what we're doing, we've put some feelers out there, and I think we're going to go with Daybreak is going to be the name of the lodge, and it's going to be Daybreak Lodge. And so it kind of all ties together, and really truly what we're trying to accomplish, which we're super excited about.
You know what? I'm so glad you brought that up. That was probably my next question, was like the name. I think I get it, but you just said it, and I'm like, it's so much more special, just the way that you just described it too. And yeah, you're right.
And
Sunrises and sunsets.
the other thing that people don't know, I have had the opportunities being in the medical fields and being a contract. Not a lot of people know I was contracted with Mayo Clinic out in Rochester, and so I've had the opportunities to meet some NFL, NBA, some professional people. I've also through our ministries and through just the relationship building side, because I'm big in relationship building and just introductions, and so our board members, a couple of them are elite athletes or have played professional sports. We also have had Brian Hall, who's our pastor, life coach. So he's coached some of the most elite people in the world. So our ministry is comprised of board members, local and non-local. That when people see their names, they go, "How the heck did you get that person on your board?" And so we've got some Golden Globe nomination people, Emmy nomination people. I mean, we're talking some really elite people, and so we've really this year started pushing the envelope of, who is going to be a part of this, and can their circle contribute in a way that is going to be rewarding on both ends. And so some of these things will be released here once we get through the new year and into spring of 25 here, but people will really drop their jaws when they see like who's a part of this and what we're doing and putting all this together. So,
well, the timing of this, I think I couldn't have had it any better to catch you before this goes up, and to get the anticipation of it. And then just to see the excitement that's around it too, because this is a massive undertaking that you're involved in, and I know that you love those types of projects. Even though we just met here, what, 40 minutes ago, and like
yep.
I said, it doesn't take long to kind of figure out how you're wired, but. I'm so glad there's people like you, and it's funny when you talk about that. I'm like, I don't know if you catch a few of the podcasts, not that I have a ton of them out there, but yeah, it's always intertwined with some athletes and those types of things too, which I think is great. If you've been fortunate enough to have some success, have some monetary gain, and be able to figure out how to give that back and do some things for people that haven't had the same experiences is always awesome. And you're one of them. And Nick, I got to say it. Like I said, we went 40 minutes ago. I know I love you already for everything that you're doing and who you are. And it's just a special deal. And I'm so glad that I've got eyes and ears to kind of see things that are going on. And like I said, 60 mutual friends, still didn't know. And I'm
That's crazy.
hoping that.
That's absolutely crazy. People, I travel all over the U.S. and I still, like you mentioned, I still own an orthopedic insole company. We do the hunting, the fishing thing. I'm now, when we're in the off season, we're going to be wrapping up pheasant hunting here. We're going to be diving into shows, and so I'll be traveling to 5 different states in the next 3 months. I'll be involved in sportsman shows, outdoor show expos. Like I am a mingler of a mingler, and so like when I get introduced to big people, it's not just about the ask. It's now how can you get involved in this and what can we do together? And so it's a little easier than asking for business when it comes to the ministry side of things, because at some capacity somebody wants to help, right? And I'm just super excited. I'm super excited about what 25 is going to bring. I think that you just never know. The introduction side of things, Jeff, that you mentioned is we have this mutual friends in the same circles in within the same circles, and that has come full circle for me in the last 20 years, multiple times where I know that person and you're like, I know that person too. And it just moves the needle that much farther when you can get those people involved. And so if some of your buddies or some of your people that are watching this, I'm sure we've met somewhere or done something. It may not have been in the same circle, but I guarantee you I've had my hands in something, especially within the outdoor network, because I'm well diverse when it comes to that. And so no, I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to have us on here, and I'm super excited about what's to come and just what we're about to unfold, because like I said, there's multitudes of things that people can get involved with, but I really truly believe that if you want to get involved in something, it has to be at full capacity, right? So a lot of times there's this thing of we're half in and we're half out. And we get involved, and I've been guilty of it too. I people ask me, hey, can you donate to this? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm like, yeah, I'll give, here and there. And not that all those things meant something, they did mean something, but when you start something like this, and you start getting people excited about it, and you can tell the ones that are like, yep, I'm this is my one thing, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to be involved with. And so just to give you an idea, this season alone, we have like Federal Ammunition, the corporate guys from Arkansas. We have Vista Outdoors. They've been donating. The Trees and Camo guys, Mike Austin, who owns Trees and Camo. We just had those groups of people hunting with us this year. And those are elite of the elite, right? So when you start throwing out names like camo owners, and I was at the Nationals last year for the Turkey Wild Federation deal in Nashville, and I met Bill Jordan's son Tyler. I hung out with just some people that you're like, wow. I mean, that's the ultimate hunting, people around the hunting world. But it's getting them to realize that, hey, this isn't about me sitting in a tree stand. This isn't about me shooting a big buck. This isn't about me, doing these things. It's about me helping other people do these things at a capacity that we take for granted. And so when you start using the right verbiage and getting in front of these people, you're really opening their eyes, and you start a massive movement towards the greater good that is bigger than us.
Well, Nick, I know you're a busy guy. You probably need to get a little rest here before you start to really get after it again after the first of the year. And I hope you take a little bit of time here over the holidays to reflect and do it. But I hope and I pray that God continues to bless you with the resources, the people, the vision, all of it, so that this just becomes a wild success and you can impact as many lives as possible. So with that, what do you have? Do you have anything for us to as far as what we can do to help? We talked about some of it, but is there anything else we can do to help, or is there any other words that you have for us before you sign off?
No, I'm just humbled to be on here, and I would say if you want to get involved, it's a stepping stone in the right direction. We're within the U.S. I mean, people travel from all over the U.S. to fly in and be here and travel and drive. So it's really, I love the fact that we're centrally located, which is huge because there's a lot of other facilities within the United States, and I know of a lot of these that are East Coast, West Coast, Texas, and it takes somebody 17, 20 hours, 22 hours to go across somewhere to be there, or to travel by plane, which is not the greatest thing for people with disabilities. And so being centrally located, I think is going to help us tremendously with volunteerism. I think it's going to help get all the people that we want to get into the facility to be able to do what we want to do. And so if you're looking at donating time, donating yourself to some of these opportunities, you can definitely message me. I'll leave my cell phone at 605-376-3508. That's my cell. Suncatcherministries.com is our website, and SD Hunt is our hunting operation. So you can message me through social media. Follow us, look at all the progress that's going to be coming up. I'm going to be doing interviews here in January, February with some of the pretty elite people in the outdoor world and sporting world, and also the NFL and NBA guys who love, and also I've got some really cool ties with some of my Nashville country music stars who love to hunt and fish, and I'm sure you've seen some of them on TV shows in Pursuit Outdoors. And so we're super pumped up for that. I can't give it all away, but you'll be seeing some of that stuff as it comes through, and go, wow. And we're going to be doing some different hunts with some of these people to be able to donate and come hang out with some different celebrities and different people. We had I don't know if you saw this, Jeff, but we had Kevin Sorbo and his son Braden, the Hercules guy, and we've met some amazing people and have made friendships But we just had Kevin and his son and just what we have 8 or 9 celebrities at our lodge on our opener pheasant hunt just this couple months back, about 3 months back. So that was interesting. And then we did a golf outing with them and made a 3-day event of hunting and fishing and golfing, and that was interesting. That was to raise money for our nonprofit. And some of these people have never done that before, which is quite interesting. So, but no, we've got a lot of fun opportunities coming up here. And if you're looking at helping in any way, please reach out to us and come see us, come see the facility, come see the groundbreaking work that we're doing. This sits on about 40 acres, so you can imagine how massive this whole operation is and will continue to be as we develop this property out for the years to come. So.
Well, I'm excited now that my excitement now can be tempered to get to do this interview with you. So we've got that. Now I'm excited to get it out there, get your information out for people to find out. But man, now April's coming. Can't wait to go out and visit this and see where I can fit in with all of this, because it sounds amazing, and I'm sure that it will be. And so I'd love to be a part of it myself, and I encourage everyone else that has a passion for it. And if you don't, you probably know someone that does. And as Nick had said, you could always use an extra hand. So Nick, thank you from the bottom of my heart. This was so fun. Like I said, the information, I've been waiting for it for so long, and you've delivered. And as you said, you're super humble, and I hope you stay humble and hungry. I believe that you will, and see this thing through. So, Nick, thank you so much. I wish you a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. And I look forward to seeing you in the future.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you, and happy holidays as well.